America has just lost a bold and outspoken voice. Whether you agreed with him or not, Charlie Kirk made an undeniable impact. Some admired his courage, others were frustrated by his relentless style. But one thing was certain: whenever Charlie showed up with his "prove me wrong" table, he came ready for every question. At first glance, it might seem like just another college debate, but this was different. In this video, we'll revisit some of Charlie Kirk's most intense and controversial exchanges, debates that challenged the status quo and sparked national conversations. And by the end, you'll understand why one particular debate still stands out as unforgettable. Charlie Kirk wasn't your typical political commentator. By the age of 31, he had transformed a high school idea into one of the fastest-growing conservative organizations in America, Turning Point USA, founded in 2012 alongside Bill Montgomery. What set Charlie apart was his fearless approach. While many public figures avoided confrontation, he sought it out. During his American Comeback Tour, he invited anyone, supporters or critics, to step forward and challenge him at his signature "Prove Me Wrong" table. At the University of Florida, hundreds gathered to watch. The crowd buzzed with energy as students lined up to debate one of the most polarizing figures on campus. Everywhere he went, the pattern repeated: full halls, passionate discussions, and viral moments that spread across the internet within hours. But what happens when strong emotion collides with sharp logic? That's exactly what one student was about to learn. The debate began with confidence, a student eager to challenge Kirk on immigration. Their arguments were heartfelt, rooted in personal experience and a deep belief in America's responsibility to help others. They thought they had him cornered, but as the discussion unfolded, things took a turn.
So I just had a question, because you talk a lot about protecting and securing our southern borders. But as the granddaughter of immigrants, I think that we get into a lot of complicated disputes with the idea that immigrants are criminals, are drug dealers, and things like that. So I just want to hear what your opinion is on those expectations, or those those stereotypes that are put on Hispanic communities, Latino communities, and how they change the way people perceive immigrants.
Kirk listened carefully, allowing the student to share her personal story and beliefs. Then, with a few calm questions, he began to test her reasoning, asking whether her family members had come to the United States legally. That's when the conversation took an unexpected turn.
My grandpa on my dad's side entered in illegally.
Okay, so I'm not here to insult your grandpa, right? But we must be very clear that the type of immigration that we support is when you follow our rules and you come on our terms, and that you do not break into a country uninvited and you try to cut.
Can I add something to that? The reason why he left, and a lot of people in Mexico do, is because of the political state, especially in the 70s and 80s, when they decided to move. They have a government that isn't supportive of their constituents, and because of drug problems, their only choice was to move.
Yeah, I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime, and we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally equivalate people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable. So look, we just have to be very clear with this, is that if you come into the country uninvited, you have committed a crime and you are a criminal. And we could decide that we're not going to enforce our laws, or we could say that when you are a criminal, you should then be punished for that crime, aka sent back to your country of origin, because you were not.
The debate soon took a personal turn. A student stepped up and shared their story. "My grandpa on my dad's side entered the country illegally," they said. Charlie listened carefully before responding. "I'm not here to insult your grandfather," he began. "But we have to be clear. The kind of immigration we support is lawful immigration. You come through the proper process, on the country's terms. You don't break in uninvited and expect to stay." The student pushed back. "The reason my grandfather left, and why many from Mexico did, was because of the political situation. In the 1970s and 80s, the government wasn't supporting its people. There were drug wars, corruption. Moving was their only choice." Charlie paused for a moment, then answered firmly. "I sympathize with that struggle," he said, "but that's not an excuse. It's never the only choice to break the law. Think about immigrants from Vietnam, Laos, or Pakistan. Many of them wait years, even decades, to come here legally. It's unfair to treat illegal entry as the same thing. He continued, his tone steady but sharp. Half the world lives under unstable governments. If that's our standard, then no border would mean anything. The truth is simple. If you come into a country uninvited, you've committed a crime. And crimes have consequences. You can either enforce the law or ignore it. But if you choose to enforce it, the fair response is to send people back to their country of origin. The crowd fell silent for a moment. It wasn't just a debate about policy anymore, it was a clash of values between compassion and the rule of law.
Who was assigned male at birth, I don't think they
Assigned male at birth, so people are not male at birth?
That's when the student revealed just how deep the programming went.
I think that a person...
See, your evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
College is a scam?
You're lacking in a lot of wisdom.
Well, here, we can continue right now. So, gender studies, do you think that studying gender is not essential? Should we not deepen our understanding
first of all,
of
I don't think gender... We're going to get there later. I don't think gender exists. I think that there are two sexes, infinite personalities, and no gender.
The student continued to make emotional appeals, but Charlie kept steering the discussion back to logic and facts. When he asked the student to define what a criminal actually was, she struggled to give an answer, and only disagreed when he explained to himself. No amount of emotion could change the reality that words have meaning, and laws exist for a reason. But immigration was just one of many topics Charlie Kirk tackled head-on. Another major flashpoint? Gender identity. At one event, a confident student stepped up to defend the belief that men can give birth. The crowd leaned in. Everyone knew this was going to be another intense exchange. Charlie was calm, collected, and ready. This wasn't just about opinions anymore. It was about how far society was willing to bend truth in the name of ideology.
Some personal advice. I'm here at the University of Pittsburgh as a social work major, and I'm really passionate about it. I really just want to get your advice moving forward for myself. There's some obvious things I think you can think that would conflict for me as an aspiring social worker.
The debate quickly turned to one of the most controversial questions of all. Charlie looked across the table and asked directly, "Do you think men can give birth?" The student hesitated. "Do I think men can give birth? I think that..." Charlie interrupted politely. "It's a yes or no question." The student took a breath and replied, "Well, I don't think people can really be assigned male at birth." Charlie raised an eyebrow. "So, people aren't male at birth?" That one line captured the growing divide between biological reality and modern ideology. What started as a simple question had become a reflection of how complicated even the most basic truths had become on college campuses.
Social work industry is very much about a perspective generally of that people in poverty are there permanently and not trying to break people out of poverty into the middle class or higher levels. They view poverty not as a series of choices, but as a station in life that is immovable largely. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. That's why my personal focus is on the children in underprivileged communities, because I personally feel like they don't choose to be put in that position. But I'm having a little bit of a difficult time empathizing with the older generation of underprivileged, and not in every community, but I don't know how to not sound.
That moment exposed just how deeply these ideas had taken hold. The student's response wasn't just uncertainty. It was a glimpse into how strongly this new way of thinking had been taught and reinforced. Charlie didn't mock or argue. Instead, he paused, letting the silence speak for itself. The audience could feel the tension, a mix of disbelief and realization. This wasn't just a debate anymore. It was a window into a generational shift, where emotion and ideology were beginning to replace simple definitions and shared truths.
Conservatives believe that if you're in poverty, it's largely because of values, not because of lack of stuff.
Like what values?
Not saving money, spending all of your money in your paycheck as you get it, for example. Abandoning your spouse after impregnating. Not spending all of your money on alcohol and drugs and instead opening a 401k. So values are the number one predictor of entering the middle class.
With just one question, Charlie had revealed the cracks in the argument. The student couldn't hold the same line of reasoning for even 30 seconds. But not every interaction that day was combative. One of the most powerful moments came when a social work student stepped forward, not to argue, but to ask for guidance. She was honest. She said she wanted to help people, but lately, She had started to question the things she was being taught in her program. Charlie listened carefully. Within moments, he understood exactly what she was struggling with: the growing divide between compassion and ideology, between genuinely helping others and being told what to think instead of how to think. It was a rare, quiet moment in an otherwise heated environment, and it showed why so many people, even those who disagreed with him, came to hear him speak.
Stay in social work because you're called to do it, but there's an amazing amount of literature from Thomas Sowell to Shelby Steele to Theodore Dalrymple that get down to actual root causes of poverty, which is not lack of stuff, but is worldview. And I think that'd be super helpful.
Charlie saw an opening and used it to deliver a difficult truth. He brought up President Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society programs, originally created to help underprivileged communities rise out of poverty. But as Charlie explained, those policies didn't have the lasting impact many hoped for. In his view, they created long-term dependence on government assistance instead of empowering people to become self-sufficient. What was meant as a hand-up had, over time, turned into a handout. Charlie then highlighted one of the most consistent findings across decades of research: the strength of the family. Children raised in stable, two-parent homes, he said, were statistically more likely to stay out of poverty, avoid prison, and finish school. It was a moment of quiet reflection. The student listened closely, realizing this wasn't just political theory. It was a challenge to rethink what real help looks like.
Believe that other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations.
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right? They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparations?
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not from the United States, that is.
The student spoke with honesty and vulnerability. She admitted that what Charlie had said conflicted directly with what she was learning in her social work classes. For the first time, she was starting to question whether the lessons she'd been taught about government programs, dependency, and social justice were truly helping the people she wanted to serve. Charlie didn't criticize her. Instead, his response was measured and encouraging. He told her that asking tough questions was the first step toward real understanding, that true education isn't about memorizing ideas, but about testing them. In that moment, the crowd wasn't watching a debate. They were witnessing something much rarer: a young person daring to think for herself, and a leader urging her to keep doing exactly that.
The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is, I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
Kirk set the trap.
Only if you're calling it racist till you control it. I mean, I'm defining critical race theory in the modern American context as that. We can go back to Herbert Marcuse, One-Dimensional Man, or Jacques Derrida, or Michel Foucault, but the most agreed upon academic theory is Intro to Critical Race Theory, 1991 by Derek Bell.
Yeah. Wait, but...
Are you familiar with that literature?
Well, yeah, I've read the book, but I don't remember anything about it. It was for, like, a college class. Like, let's be honest, nobody remembers the books they read in college.
Sounds like a great value proposition to go to college.
No, it is, trust me.
Charlie explained his perspective carefully. As conservatives, he said, we believe that poverty is often tied more to values than to resources. The student leaned in. What kind of values? She asked. Charlie listed them plainly: saving money instead of spending every paycheck, taking responsibility for your family, avoiding addiction, and thinking about the future by investing in things like a 401k. Those habits, he said, are the #1 predictors of whether someone moves into the middle class. It wasn't a debate anymore. It felt more like mentorship. A rare, genuine exchange in an environment usually filled with confrontation. It showed another side of these campus events, one built on reflection and growth rather than argument. But the calm didn't last for long. The next topic was even more charged: reparations. A student stepped up to the microphone and argued that Black Americans deserved financial reparations for slavery. Charlie listened, then leaned forward and asked a simple question, one that would once again bring the conversation to a standstill.
Well, but you didn't go to college, so I guess you wouldn't know.
It's true, I didn't.
So
let me ask you, though, does that mean that I'm not able to have this conversation with you? Because I actually remember the book and you didn't, and you paid for it.
So, first of all, I didn't pay for it. There's these things called scholarships.
Oh, so somebody else paid for you not to remember the book that you were supposed to read. Oh,
Anyways.
some wealthy donor or taxpayer paid for you to not remember the book.
Charlie then calmly laid out his stance on the issue of reparations. He argued that while slavery was a horrific chapter in history, holding people today accountable for actions they never committed was neither fair nor logical. No one alive today owned slaves, he explained, and no one alive today was enslaved. You can't punish or reward people for events they neither caused nor lived through. The crowd listened intently. Some nodded, others frowned, but no one could easily refute the reasoning. Whether or not they agreed, Charlie's point was clear. Justice cannot be built on inherited guilt. It was another example of how one simple argument, grounded in logic rather than emotion, could silence an entire debate hall.
Not know whether climate change is happening when a recent survey of 88,125 climate-related studies done by Institute of Physics cites that more than 99.9% of peer-reviewed scientific papers agree that climate change is caused by human activities.
How much? So how much of the global temperature rising is because of human activity? No. What percentage? Is it 70%, 80%, 85%, 5%, 1%? Because that's not what the study said. They're saying that human activity is contributing to part of the increase. What part? They don't know. That's debate.
The next student came prepared, confident and composed. She began by asking Charlie to define critical race theory. Without hesitation, Charlie gave a clear, academic answer, referencing Derek Bell's 1991 work, which laid the foundation for the theory. But then he flipped the script. Instead of staying in lecture mode, he turned the question back on her. Now that we've defined it, he asked, can you explain how dividing people by race helps bring them together? The shift caught the student off guard. The debate that began as a question about definitions suddenly became a test of consistency, of whether the theory's ideas held up when applied to real life. The tension rose. It wasn't just about what critical race theory meant anymore. It was about what it did.
For example, I think in 2020, the government funded $5.9 trillion to fossil fuel companies. I would say that instead of investing this money, $5.9 trillion to fossil fuel companies.
That doesn't sound right. But you might be in tax credits, maybe, or tax breaks. That doesn't sound right.
Subsidies.
No, that's 5.9 billion, probably not trillion. There's no way.
It's trillion.
Yeah, well, the federal budget was 3.8 trillion, so there's no way we spent more than our federal budget.
No.
But I'm going to help you out. It's probably billion. Did you say trillion or billion?
It's trillion. It's done by the International Monetary Fund. It probably is not.
It's not possible. I mean, I'm sorry to.
I'm not saying just in the United States.
Oh, okay, worldwide. All right, then that.
Kirk set the trap, calm, precise, and calculated. Within seconds, the student's argument collapsed under its own weight.
The cobalt to make the batteries, and what do we do with them? No, I'm asking. Where do you recommend we get the cobalt to make the batteries?
Wait, can I answer? So, your argument is about this mining argument, right?
No, I'm asking a question, dude. Where do we get it from? Yeah. So then, how about this? How and where should we dispose of the incredibly acidic, sometimes radioactive batteries that electric vehicles use? Where should we dispose of them?
But that argument, you see, it's a straw man because you're
Answer the question.
No, I am answering question. I am literally answering your questions, right? So you're arguing about this renewable energies and their batteries and how they cause environmental harm, right?
I've asked a question. I'm not making an argument. What should we do with the batteries once we use them?
I'm saying that's a straw man because you can't.
Straw man question. That's a first. I've never been accused of a straw man question.
Charlie then outlined 5 core pillars of critical race theory, breaking it down point by point. After finishing, he turned to the student, who had claimed to be well-versed in the topic, and asked if any of it sounded familiar. The response? Awkward silence. The student couldn't recall or engage with the actual content. The room grew quiet, but the debates didn't stop there. Next up was an environmental activist, confident and ready with data. They cited a statistic often used in climate discussions, that 99% of scientists agree climate change is caused by humans. It sounded airtight, but Charlie was already preparing to challenge the number and the narrative behind it.
can't answer the question because deep down you know that cobalt-powered batteries are worse for the environment than liquid and natural gas and nuclear power. So you come up on here to try to virtue signal, I love the environment, but as soon as you ask me about the incredibly environmentally inefficient, destructive, animal-killing, acidic-producing batteries, you're a strong man. You're out of time. Thanks for being here tonight. Next question.
The student couldn't answer the core question. Charlie quickly exposed the flaw in their argument. He pointed out that while many studies say humans contribute to climate change, very few specify how much, and that, he said, is the real debate. But things only got tougher for the student when they began tossing out more statistics. Each number they mentioned, Charlie calmly unpacked, showing how data can be easily misused when stripped of context. In just a few minutes, the confidence that student walked in with started to fade, replaced by the quiet realization that strong opinions don't always stand up to strong logic.
You oppose abortion, but you also oppose veganism. Most animals, most adult like cows, pigs, chickens, they're more intelligent than fetuses and, little children.
The student was forced to backtrack, admitting that their so-called gotcha statistic wasn't as solid as it sounded. But Charlie wasn't finished. He leaned forward and asked one of the simplest, yet most uncomfortable, questions for many environmental activists. A question that cut straight through all the numbers and emotion and went right to the heart of the issue. The entire crowd leaned in, waiting to hear what came next.
A definition of you have a dog and a human being. How do you know which is which?
A human being can walk and talk and
well,
yeah.
A dog can walk.
Yeah, but I can't walk and talk, sure.
Here's the difference. A human being can tell you the difference between right and wrong. An animal can only tell you the difference between pleasure and pain.
Yeah, but animals still suffer like human fetuses do.
But again, the moral worth of a human being is objectively different because we are able to make moral contentions, not just contentions based on how we feel.